Hey everybody, this is Chief Gen X once again. Um, Come to you today. We're going to talk about some things that one of the things my grandpa used to was famous for, and one of those things was he was pretty stubborn. Um, for anybody who knew my grandfather, he was a very determined individual. I think about the best way to put it. If it was going to be done, he was going to do it. And if it needed to be done, he was going to do it his way. Um, there was really no too much, that being done. However, when it come to us grandkids, he had a real big soft spot for us. He pretty much would acquiescent for whatever we needed or whatever we wanted at the time. Um, in the summertime, a lot of times we have homemade ice cream. He'd get one of them butter ice cream churners in there. He used to do it by hand. He used to make all my mom and my aunts and uncles used to turn it by hand, make them do it while we grandkids would watch. We'd watch our moms and dads, sit there turning that button, that hand crank on that ice cream maker when they're sitting there turning it. We're over there giggling our butts off and looking at it going, hey, look there. But that was one of the things that I remember during summer times. Also during summer times, I remember I had a real bad problem out on the hill was the wasp and the bees. The wasp were really bad, and they were bad to the point where they tried to take a nest up in the outhouse a few times. And I remember one summer they got there and they got a good nest in there. They got a real good nest in there, and Grandpa, being Grandpa, he was determined that he was going to get them dang things out of there. Well, he had tried the nice way. He tried, fumigating and doing the little gas thing and all this other stuff, and it wasn't working. Well, not to his satisfaction anyway. He wanted them done and gone and out of the way, not in there completely. It wasn't happening. Of course, my Uncle Pat, my Uncle John were there, and they were goating him along. And he said, "Hey, Dad, what's the matter? You can't get him out, can't get him out." And and he had this old time spray pump, where you can spray the wasp killing stuff on there. You spray it in there, spray it right on the wasp nest, and did a really good job. If you aimed it right, you sprayed it right in there, and you nailed them wasps in there. If you did it while the wasps were gone, they come in and they get it and then they die off that way. If you did it while the wasps were in there, they come out fighting like that, mad as hell. They come out fighting. Well, the one summer I'm about to tell you about was the one summer that Grandpa miscalculated the times that the wasps were supposed to be out and about. They were not, unfortunately, and he took it pretty good. He got stung pretty good. He was squirting the heck out of him. He was just left and right, and they were coming out, and he didn't back down a minute. He didn't back down an inch. He was about 4 to 6 feet away from that outhouse, and he was just rocking or rolling and squirting that thing out there. That stuff was spraying out like just streams of rockets and streaming there. And those wasps were coming after him, and he wasn't backing down a bit. He's going left and right. He's like you see in the cartoons, he's doing left and right, just spraying all over the place. And they were just steadily coming after him. They wanted a piece of my grandpa's butt so bad they could taste it, and they were pissed. And my grandpa was like, "Fuck you, here they come." And he was sitting there cussing and hollering and hooting at them. Hey, "Come here, you sons of bitches." And you can hear him cursing all the way to the house. And it was a good 30, 40 yards away. And he was just cussing at them. He was just going at it. Well, he finally, I think either he ran out of the spray at the time, or he finally backed down enough where he's figured out he's getting stung pretty good. He was getting stung left and right. He was getting on the forehead and his face and stuff like that, and on his neck, and he was getting hit up. He was getting beat up pretty good. And he finally ran out of spray, and he finally backed out of there, and he came into the house, and you could just see the whelps all over his face. He was just like all over him. He's where it got been stung. And it looked rough. And he looked like he'd been hit by the freaking shotgun pellets. And he was like, it was nasty. And he never once said a word about it. He just, grabbed the stuff we called Raleigh salve, and he just salves in there, and he puts it in the thing, and you see him all of a sudden he opened his mouth, he did it, and he stick it inside his mouth. Well, the wasp had gotten inside of his mouth. How they got in there, I have no idea. But apparently they got inside of his mouth, and they stung inside of his mouth, and he was fit to be tied. He was pissed. And he told my grandma, he goes, "God damn it, Lily, I'm gonna get them some bitches tomorrow. I get off work after I get up and get some sleep. I'm gonna get them some bitches tomorrow." And that was on a Saturday, and we went up there for some reason. We'd been out there on Friday. It was during summertime, so we went there on Friday. My mom and I went up there on a Friday, and we'd done this. We sitting around watching this man. This man's like, holy crap, And it dawned on me at the time, this man had been through World War II. So whatever was Wasp threw at him, they ain't shit compared to what he'd been through already. All right, and I'm sitting there thinking, I forgot all about this. So I'm thinking, like, well, okay, well, damn, Grandpa, you got hit pretty good. It looked like it hurt like hell. Come Saturday afternoon, boy, he was up. Mom and I went up there, and hey, Mom was like, we better go up there for your grandpa goes up there and tries to attack these damn wasps again. Ends up getting himself killed while his wasp was stinging. I'm like, all right, well, whatever. So we go hooting up there, and we get talking to Grandpa, and he comes up, and he'd been up earlier than usual, and he had fixed this contraption on into his squirt gun. Well, it was basically what it was a squirt gun, his spray gun, and it looked like a little holder, like a little bitty holder type thing, like you're holding something. And I was sitting there watching him, and I'm looking at him, I'm like, what the hell has he got in that thing? What is that thing for? Well, he goes in there, and he goes back in the barn, this little shed barn thing he's got, and he grabs a couple strips of canvas, and wraps it around that little thing. He had made a contraption to where he put it on the end of the squirt gun, to where it was just about that far off the end of the nozzle. And so it was about like that off the end of the nozzle. He wrapped it and swapped, and then he poured some gasoline on it. I was like, hang on a second. He ain't doing what I think he's doing, is he? And then he was. My brain started clicking. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, hang on. Grandpa's a pyro. Let's check his out. He was doing what y'all think he's doing. He was about ready to light this place on fire. He was pissed. You caught the Irishman off guard, and you stung his ass, and you were about to catch hell. You were about to meet the wrath of the Costello. So he had gave it a couple of squirts. Like, all right, he's watching. He's trying to judge the distance of the spray, and he pulled a Zippo out. I'd never seen my grandfather have a Zippo before. I'd never seen him smoke. He used to smoke, but he never smoked. Well, he quit smoking before I was born. So he pulls out that Zippo and he lights that thing up. A little bit of flame going on there. And I'm thinking, this don't kill him. This is gonna work. This is gonna kick ass. And ooh, flamethrower. It's exactly what the old man wanted to do. He wanted a flamethrower. So he gets up there and he looks at me and he goes, "Stay on the well," which was about 50 yards from the outhouse. So I'm about 50 yards away from the shit house. He's over by the methane and the wood, which is what the outhouse is made out of. The methane is all the gases coming up from the shit house, and he's over there with the squirt gun and a lit swath of freaking burlap, just to having a freaking blast having over with his damn, basically a freaking flamethrower. He's over, and you can hear him cussing, "Take that, you sons of bitches," and just spraying the shit out of it. And he's hitting these wasps, and these wasps are going down like freaking nothing. You're like, bam, 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 they're going down. He ain't playing around. And some bitches are going down. They ain't got a chance. This time he picked it the right, perfect time where they're in their nest, sleeping. He caught them right before they would get up. He doused it up, freaking hit it. He hit it hard. He nailed it. There was still leftover gas from the last time he nailed it with it. But he hit it, and he hit it hard. Well, he hit a little too hard, and when ended up doing is setting the outhouse on fire just a little bit. He set that son of a bitch on fire there, and he was like, next thing you heard was, "Ah, shit." he was, he goes, and he hollers at me. Goes, he hollered at me, "Ray, wrestle me up a bucket of water." So there's always a bucket near the well pump. So I'm pumping him up a bucket of water, bringing it over there to him. And he looks at me, and he looks back at the shit house, and he goes, "Think I did a little too much?" I'm looking at him like, "Nah, you good." He's like, "Yeah, I think you'll be all right. Remember, don't tell Grandma." I ain't saying a word. It's just, and his outhouse is just, he's got this nice little steady, small flame, and ain't nothing big. And he's like, "Oh, I guess it's time we put it out so we don't catch hell for it." And about the time he threw the water on it, my mom and my grandmother both stuck their head out the window, and it just, doosh, perfect timing. The water comes up, splashes the water, splashes the fire out, the fire's out, little smoke trail, just a little smoke trail, just enough. And I guess that was just enough to where my grandmother's super sensitive nose smells it. "Francis, you burned something?" Oh, we look at each other like, "Oh shit." He throws the bucket across the yard so it doesn't get caught with it in his hand. He's like, "Nope, you're not." Like, no, not. My mom looks at me and I'm like, I ain't saying a word. Yeah, no, not saying a damn word. She looks at me, she looks at the outhouse, she looks at my grandpa, and she looks back at me and she shakes her head. She goes, "Come on, Mom, let's go back inside. I don't think we need to be out here messing with the boys." But he was just squirting it. It was beautiful, just like you see in the films too. He was squirting flamethrower, just a. I was like, yeah, this old man knows what he's doing. Until we almost burnt the house down, shit house down. Like, yeah, we got the water out. He got the fire out anyway, and we're grabbing a bucket. And he's like, "Yeah, probably good idea. We got that fire out when we did, huh?" I was like, "Yeah, it might have been a little dangerous." He goes, "Yeah, I said, might have got a little nasty." I said, "Yeah, especially as soon as that flame hit the shit, we could have hit." I said, "Literally, shit could have hit the fan." He just started laughing, and he goes, "Yeah, it could." But he was, oh my God, he was pissed that day. He was up early. He had a little contraption built on there. I mean, it was locked in there tight. He had this swath of freaking stuff, the burlap around there, just lightly coated with a little gasoline. Flipped that little switch, flipped that freaking Zippo, and off we ran. We were off to the races. Well, we were having fun. Until we almost burned down a shit house. Well, thankfully, it didn't hit Grandma until at least 3 or 4 weeks later that we realized what we were doing. But that was one of the things we did out in the country. As Gen X kids, we learned from the greatest. I had the privilege anyway. I had the privilege of learning from one of the greatest generations, and from a boomer. I had that privilege. I learned, some really cool tricks. Some really cool tricks you weren't supposed to be doing, which we did anyway. I learned survival tricks. I learned, I was taught patience. I didn't really grasp it until 20, 30 years later. Man, it was a rough run. But I learned so much about survival, about living off the land, about living in the country, about being able to provide for your family without having to go in town and buy it from a grocery store. I learned so much out there from, like I said, two of the people that lived through World War II, from part of the greatest generation. My mother, the boomer, she taught me, the things that my grandfather might have forgotten, which wasn't much. She taught me that like my grandfather taught me, the Farmer's Almanac was like the farmer's second Bible. You had the Bible, and then you had the Farmer's Almanac, and they were pretty much hand in hand. My grandfather swore by that thing. If you ever said anything bad about the Farmer's Almanac, you better duck, because there's something flying at you out of his hand, because he swore by that thing. And 9 times out of 10, he had a bumper crop, So I've learned a lot from them. I learned, like I said, some things to do. some things probably shouldn't do, and I learned some things you sure the hell don't want to do. But was cool as shit when we did them. So yeah, we had a that was the day Grandpa almost burnt down the shit house, but he killed a hell of a lot of fucking wasp, and I was greatly appreciated because at the time I hated them some bitches. They scared the hell out of me back then. So yeah, that's one of the many of the stories about there. I know I was picking on my grandma there for a while, so I figured I'd pop one out about Grandpa. I got quite a few about him too. God rest his soul too. But yep. If any of the family had any ideas, let me know what's going on. Like, remember, remind me of some things that happened. I can tell them about it. All right. With all that said, y'all behave yourselves, and we'll see you next time. Chief Gen X, I'm out.